We're disappointed by the Cabinet Secretary's statement today about the hate crime bill because the government has stopped short of making the necessary and important changes to the stirring up of hatred provisions, which our campaign and other experts in Scottish public life have been talking about for the last few months. The government has chosen to tweak rather than remove the stirring up offences, and we think that's the wrong call. These offences threaten to undermine freedom of speech and freedom of expression and academic inquiry in Scotland and perhaps further afield as well. And the problems with these provisions are so many and so complex that really the only way to avoid the kind of negative scenarios that have been talked about is to withdraw them altogether. It's also important to say that there's no evidence that these stirring up offences are necessary to plug a gap in the law or to reduce the number of hate-related attacks. There's no evidence at all to suggest that they would do that. So the best option remains for the government to withdraw the offences from the legislation and allow other non-contentious elements of the legislation, such as the amalgamation of different laws and the repeal of the offence of blasphemy, to proceed without challenge. Finally, it's important to say that the Justice Committee, which will be scrutinising the legislation soon, is already under a huge deal of pressure. They're examining other complex legislation on defamation and other things, and there isn't much parliamentary time left. So to be considering a bill with this number of risks attached, to be considering these complex issues of what is hatred and prejudice and how can the language be appropriately balanced to maintain protections in Scottish life for free speech and free expression, it's a big ask for the committee, and it's a big ask for the Scottish Parliament just now as a whole, because we're in the midst of a global pandemic. So the best option, as I said, remains for the government to remove the stirring up of hatred provisions from the hate crime bill, to avoid the controversy that's been going on and to stop the clamour that's been going on, which has probably been giving them a headache. So we call on them to do so. Again, we think it's not too late for them to do this, and we think this course of action is the right course of action in the weeks and months ahead.